Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues and friends, I'm very grateful for this opportunity to address you briefly at this meeting of BioRegional and the One Planet Living initiative. For a number of years now, I have been following closely the development of both the concepts, the 10 principles, and the way that this initiative has been able to both inspire and support responses across many different countries. As you meet with a very different and also very diverse set of disciplines that have come together around the One Planet Living concept, let me share with you just for a couple of minutes why I believe that in many ways you are part of a group of pioneers, or if you want, the front line of reinventing our economies, something that is more dramatically needed today than we have perhaps realized in the recent years. In the last few weeks, we have been confronted with a financial crisis and an economic crisis in our global economy that holds both the seeds of failure but also of opportunity for many of the issues that we associate with concepts such as ecological footprint, our response to climate change, the loss of biodiversity and ecosystem services, the prospect of growing water scarcity across the planet, and I could go on. UNEP, in its Global Environment Outlook report, provided, if you want, an agenda for action that is driven by the imperative to act, but also increasingly inspired by the possibility to act. One Planet Living is part of a growing community of people who are demonstrating in the real economy, in real life, that a transition towards a green economy is no longer just a theoretical ambition, it is an experiment that is happening across the planet. What we are looking for in the United Nations Environment Programme at this moment is for precisely these examples that can help us to demonstrate that the transition towards a green economy requires both acceleration and scaling up, particularly at this moment of financial crisis. Collectively, we have already appropriated $5,000 billion in the last few weeks that are being deployed to address a liquidity crisis in the financial markets and increasingly also economic stimulus packages in economies across the globe. We have a choice in the next few weeks whether we will mortgage our ability to act on issues such as the Millennium Development Goals, climate change, greater sustainability and development by locking that money in simply into addressing the financial crisis. Or we have the choice, as we have seen increasingly articulated in different countries across the world, to use these economic stimulus packages as also a means to address the challenge of sustainability. From President Lee in Korea, who has put the notion of green growth forward as one of the pillars of Korea's response to the economic crisis, to China's decision to allocate out of its almost $600 billion that have been put forward as an economic stimulus package, over $140 billion being deployed for expanding renewable energy, investing in energy efficiency and pollution reduction. To the United States, where President-elect Obama has in the last few days articulated an ambitious and bold strategy of dealing both with the economic and financial crisis, but also to provide, from a public policy point of view and a regulatory and economic set of incentives, a signal that the transition towards greater energy diversification, investment in renewable energy, energy efficiency is intricately linked also to the creation of jobs. Some of you may be familiar with UNEP's work under the Green Economy Initiative that has looked at the link between responding to an environmental imperative to change and the creation of new economic opportunities. We have called this report that we are producing with the ILO, the trade union movement and the Employers Federation, the Green Jobs Report. It is work that is ongoing and will culminate about a year and a half from now. We also have the TEEP study headed by Pavan Sukhdev. It stands for the Economics of Ecosystems and Biodiversity, trying to understand how we can capture and value the services and products that nature provides, to understand that a watershed is almost the equivalent of an infrastructure utility that provides us with water supplies, is a way of trying to understand how we can bring nature's services, the value of natural capital, to our economic decision-making system. But above all, the transition towards a green economy is in many ways what you have articulated as your 10 principles. It is achieving a low-carbon economy, a more energy-efficient economy, a less polluting economy, an economy that produces jobs in new sectors and new products and invents new processes for ensuring that we can sustain the livelihoods and needs of soon 8-9 billion people on this planet. We have also called for a global Green New Deal, and in many ways, urban development, the way we develop the infrastructure around the communities where we live, where we work, is going to be a key part of it. Many of you already know that 40% of carbon emissions are associated with the building infrastructure on our planet. The potential for energy conservation, energy efficiency, also zero carbon solutions that you are developing right now is enormous. In fact, many people underestimate how quickly the real economy has already begun to invest in this. UNEP in 2007 produced a report that tried to capture the full investment in clean energy technologies. To our own surprise, the volume had reached almost $150 billion worldwide. 20% of all new electricity infrastructure worldwide was in fact in the field of renewables. There are countries that are now heading for 20–30% renewable electricity supplies. There are others, including in Europe, who have just about managed 1, 2 or 3%. Clearly, the kinds of choices that governments are taking, that we as societies are encouraging our political leaders to take, are also vital in shaping the response and the capacity of markets to respond. The transition towards a green economy, the one planet living concept if you want, is not going to happen just because of public funding. But the ability of markets and corporations and technology development to respond is predicated upon the right signals that markets need. Therefore, the discussions that you will have today and your ability to bring real-life work from different countries together, to bring those lessons also into the international policy arena, and hopefully through cooperating with the United Nations Environment Programme and many other international entities, will help to accelerate what I believe is now an essential paradigm shift that we are looking for. The green economy is about tomorrow's jobs, about tomorrow's markets, about tomorrow's products, and about tomorrow's capacity to feed and sustain 8–9 billion people on this planet. BioRegional and One Planet Living are, as I said at the beginning, in the vanguard of developing these concepts. Do work with us and do work with many of the other partners who have the ability to take these lessons into the international policy arena. Thank you very much.